Hello, everyone. A massive welcome to Be a Magnetic Entrepreneur Summit, where our goal is to inspire greatness. I'm your host, Kat Svard, and you guys know as entrepreneurs, we must take action outside of our comfort zone. That's where we play, and it triggers some stuff, some emotions. We hit our limiting beliefs, then we're scared. We can be in overwhelm and doubt and procrastination, and then eventually we get stuck. And so we need to learn how to manage our mind. That's what it boils down to. I believe that success is an inner game. So we need to learn to think the way we need to think so that we get the results that we want, regardless of the circumstances. Because the circumstances, there's always going to be some stuff happening. And that's what leadership is, right? So we got to manage our thoughts and our actions so that you can lead yourself, you can lead your clients, you can lead your movement, you can lead your team. It's necessary. And so I've partnered with amazing entrepreneurs who are going to show you exactly how to do that. So get yourself ready to train your brain for gain. Today's guest, amazing, Robyn. Robyn, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you. Robyn Thrasher is a leading transformation coach, motivational speaker, rising author, and inspiring leader who's transparent, tough love, energy, and enthusiasm, captivates, connects, and challenges her clients and audience to question their current self, surrender their old self, and fight their future self. I love that. She has been featured as Yahoo's #2 mindset coach, changing lives in 2021, recognized as Best Gym Owner of the Year in 2019. And she's been nominated multiple times as Best Personal Trainer and Best Gym in her native Tampa. She has spoken and presented at multiple personal development conferences and fitness workshops on mindset, overcoming adversity, resiliency, creating unshakable confidence and courage, which is so important for entrepreneurs. She has 2 books, not one, 2 books coming up. One at the summer of 2022, The Match It Mentality, and another one in 2023, Dancing with Tsunamis. We're going to have to grab those for sure. Robyn, absolutely. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're honored to have you. And so let's just start this with you telling us a little bit about you, a little bit of backstory. Take us back on a timeline, 5 to 10 minutes of where you started and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. You don't want my whole childhood and all of that stuff? No.
Well, you can fit in 10 minutes. Go ahead.
No, absolutely not. No. We'll get right to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I think this is awesome that you're doing this to help other entrepreneurs or even people that are maybe like testing the waters to see if this is something that they want to do, because I think you mentioned in the intro, this is not for the faint heart. This is tough. So it takes some grit and some endurance. So my mission personally started about 8 years ago when I was left for dead. And I say that with a smile on my face because I've learned over the years what a fortunate and grateful event it was for me, because now I have a new reverence for life. I've always been a fighter and a warrior, but boy, am I more of one now for other people. So I was misdiagnosed. I had a rare infection working inside me and was going from doctor to doctor to doctor. I was about 36 years old and I had 2 small kids at the time. And I was in the best shape of my life. I was a trainer running a gym. Life was amazing, kind of. And on the outside, it was amazing. I know I'm the only person that's ever lived that perfect picture life, right? Needless to say, I went from doctor to doctor, tests, CAT scans, MRIs, the whole 9 yards, and in and out of ambulance rides to the hospital, all that good stuff. They couldn't find anything really wrong with me. Unfortunately, though, there was a human error, and I had white blood cell counts, which showed the infection, and it was missed, just human error, missed. And I was left for dead. They sent me home, and this infection was growing up my spine, in my bloodstream. It was in my bones. It was in my muscle tissue, in my hips. And eventually, weeks later, long story, we'll condense it. I ended up in the emergency room with emergency surgery to save my life. It was called Streptococcus pneumoniae, which was a really rare, weird version of strep. Like you think of strep throat, but imagine it going up to my brain. So after about 7-8 weeks of advocating and fighting for myself, knowing that like something was wrong from me on the inside, even though on the outside I looked fine, even my own family, I was literally crawling on the floors, up the stairs to tuck my kids in good night. I couldn't walk. And I was a trainer, best shape of my life, running marathons, Tough Mudders, all those things. Surgery corrected it, thank God. And I was healed after months and months of IV medication. I had a PICC line that I lived with for a long time, going to my heart to feed me the medicine. I did really painful physical therapy. I had to learn how to walk again. And it was a tremendous life-changing event for me. I believe I truly died in that hospital and was reborn again. And I am a Christian, and I have found my salvation, and I'm saved, but I did not believe in God when I was in that hospital. And there were people praying for me, and I was shooing them away, and I was fighting Christ and fighting my demons, no joke. And he saved me anyways. And it wasn't until about 2 years later when I came to know Jesus, but I believe he saved me to help other people learn how to fight and to stop living a lie. Because while all that was going on and I was dying from the inside out, my marriage was in shambles. You know, we weren't really well off financially. We were spending money we didn't have. I ended up going through a divorce, separating from my husband, and I had little kids at the time, 3 and 5. I was just not living authentically, and I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. I was doing things that were self-sabotaging behaviors, just a lot of things that were not authentic to a life that I really truly wanted to be living. And I believe this transpired to help me teach others through physical fitness and through my business, and through my writing now and my speaking, to help people come to face their giants, be able to look at themselves in the mirror every day and know that, like, maybe it's not always the best, but you're doing your best and you're living the life that you really want to live, or you're at least transitioning into it. Because like you said, life happens and it knocks us down. Yeah. And in the 26 years I've been a fitness instructor and a trainer and have helped hundreds of thousands of clients, life happens is the biggest excuse that I got. And life happened to me in that hospital. And it took me months and months and a year. I was even battling, my stepmom passed away. She raised me since I was 5, was my best friend. She got sick while I was sick, but she passed away while I got better. So that just kind of compounded on top of, why am I here? I need to wake up and start making some changes. So that's pretty much brought me to, going through the divorce and the separation, and fast forward to leaving my fancy job that I loved so much, where everybody knew me and I was a rock star trainer, to nothing, no clients, no gym, built my business from the ground up, literally from a dirt field. I had a partner at the time that was also my partner. We broke up. So I went through heartache. We got evicted. We couldn't afford, the brick and mortar retail space. Like these are the things you go through as an entrepreneur. You spend money to make money, and which bills do you pay, and will the electric get shut off? I lived in my gym for 6 months. My children lived there with me. They slept in a, and I know there's people way worse off, but they lived in that gym with me. We had nowhere to go when the last client left at the end of the night. And we did that for 6 months. But fast forward, that was about 7 years ago. God has restored everything, and I have grown through the divorce and the grief and the death and the pain. And I have chronic pain. I have chronic conditions that I will live with for the rest of my life, but I'm alive. I can help people now that have gone through financial ruin, that are physically unfit, because I believe what's going on the inside, the internal struggles, reflect on the outside of your body. And I want to fight for those people that kind of settle into their suffering and they settle into victimhood, not because they're choosing it, even though I'm going to argue later that everything's a choice, but because I think they just don't know differently yet. They haven't experienced it yet. And part of my mission is that nobody has to experience a life and death moment, or life happens matter. Like, you shouldn't have to almost die to learn how to live authentically and live alive. So I'm representing to fight for those people, that the everyday person that has more inside of them, and I'll talk about a little bit that later, the scream inside, that you can actually live that life, and we can create that together through transforming from the inside out. And that's brought me here today, Kat. So
beautiful. And you're like nice and bright. We can feel the authenticity and the alignment and the connection. You know, some people always, we talk to clients and they tell you, yeah, but you don't know my story. I've been through stuff. I think the best coaches out there are those who hit multiple walls.
Oh yeah.
You don't learn that in school. It's life school. And then it's, what are you going to do with it? And so the question I would love for you to maybe walk us through is, so were you in mindset? Were you like a positive thinker before this happened? How did you manage your mind when you saw your body was kind of like you were losing your body, and our mind is always top shape. It's there.
Right.
It's not broken. How do you manage that?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. I'm going to take it back to my childhood, where I was raised with a lot of tough men. They were all fixers. So I learned very early on, you can always make a way. You can always find a way. You can make a way. You can make it happen. I tell my clients now, the way out is through, and they don't like that. But you can't circumvent, what you're going through. You must go. It's like when we're driving, right? And we see the storm coming, so we turn down the radio and we grip the steering wheel, and you can't get off the highway. You have no choice but to do it. Why we turn down the radio to drive, I don't get, but we focus and we get through the storm. So I learned very early on, it works for some of my clients. You got to go through it, because otherwise you're not going to learn the lessons or the mistakes. You're not going to build the resiliency that you're not going to know how tough you really are until you actually face it. And believe it or not, back then I didn't believe in all of this mindset and habits. And I was just a stay-at-home mom that was a personal trainer at the gym. And I had always had energy and passion for working out. And I was always really good at that. But I knew inside of me that there was more, because I always snuck in while I was coaching, these, I didn't know at the time, but these mindset little, like, don't be a baby and keep going and never get, I was always slipping in mindset, and it was years later. And I believe that was just God, like, prepping me for today.
I believe that too.
But my mentality has always just been, you can make a way, you can find a way through. And obviously as a mother, I didn't have a choice. I had, the last thing I said after 9 doctors looking at me and pushing me away and telling me there was nothing wrong with me, even though I was dying, when the last one finally came to me and said, we're going to do emergency surgery right now, I asked for a second opinion because it sounds funny, but I thought, I have 2 kids. You can't, you hear operate on your spine, they removed part of my spine. You hear, I'm going to die or I'm going to be paralyzed. And you don't hear, we're going to save your life. It was, you don't have a choice. And all I could think of was my kids. So, and the other thing I think that I can kind of piggyback on that was, I was already living a lie at that time. My marriage wasn't in a good spot, and I can say it now, but I was having an affair, and a lot of people, I would never, until you do. And so it's something I can talk about now freely, because I believe the hospital and the almost died experience was the thing that came to stop that, so that I could start living honestly again. And that really shaped who I am. And I believe there's a lot of men and women out there chasing things that fill them up, because they're lost and they're empty and they're living a lie. And so that's one of my mindsets now that I learned from it. But back then it was my kids. It was, I have to live. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. They're my life. But it came to stop everything else. So I thank God for it, really.
Yeah, I believe there is something. I have what I say all the time is just let go and let God. Just let go the
Yeah.
steering wheel,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna work. If
Absolutely.
it's too hard, the force negates, right? So that doesn't work. Although you do have to push through, you have no other choice because
Yeah.
you need to push through to uncover who you are on the other side. You'll never know until you get there. How do you, or do for yourself or with your clients, how do you guide them through that? Because I know for some of my clients sometimes, or other colleagues, entrepreneurs, like, oh, it hurts so much. It's like, and some people numb themselves. And I did that for years. A lot of people do that. How do you, what would you tell them to help them to move through that?
I think like when they're stuck, when
Yeah,
they're
when you're
stuck in it,
stuck,
like
you know you got to push through. I mean,
right.
you got to go in the
Yeah.
pain, you got to do the forgiveness and feel that energy has to be released. It can't stay in the
Right.
body, right?
Right. No, it's really unhealthy. And then especially physically where I come from, from my previous background as being a trainer, they can't lose the weight, they can't get healthy, they can't get rid of the stress, they can't sleep. And when you're filling yourself up, whether it's food or alcohol or drugs or spending too much money or, living a lie or having an affair, whatever you're filling yourself up with, you're chasing something.
Yeah.
So for me, it was as a little girl, I was always chasing attention and love in first place because I grew up with an addict brother. So I was always the independent do good so I was loved. I had a great childhood, but I always felt second place and in the shadows. My stepmother, my dad adored her, put her on a pedestal. She was my best friend, but I was always second place. My mother never achieved her dreams that she wanted to do. My dad never achieved his dreams that he wanted to do. So I look at it as a duty to myself and to my family name to break that generational curse, to not stay stuck or suffer or not choose to suffer in it. Obviously, being in the hospital and almost dying teaches you, because there are plenty of people the doctors told me, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. Like I had a long list of you can'ts anymore. I proved them wrong on almost every single one of them that, oh yes, I can. So but I could choose to sit on the couch and take the medicine and just get prescriptions every month and live in chronic pain and be sad and depressed and not use my pain for fuel to help others learn how to, and even myself to fuel forward. So when I have a client that I see stuck, one, I can't force it. So I learned that. I tried that for years because I am very passionate with them. And that could sometimes come across as a coach as angry or upset when really it was just, I see your potential. What are you doing? Why are you wasting it? You can totally, I would believe in them more than they believed in themselves. So what I had to learn how to do, and I kind of did it through my core values. And while I'm a Christian and I have faith, not all of my clients are Christians. I have everybody of different religions and not all of them, some of them are atheists. So I want them to believe in themselves. So we kind of do a really simple elementary, and we all learned it back in the day, probably the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So I was a journalism student and communications major, but I get them to kind of put a movie in their head of who they want to become. Where are they? What are they doing? How did they get there? Who is with them? How do they feel? What is their job? I have to get them to that place of there's this movie in your head. You wake up every day and you wish this, you think you wish this for your job, this for your life, and so forth. So I really try to get them to one first. What's the movie playing in your head? What are you doing? What does that life even look like? Like, what is your ideal life? If you could do anything, because you can, I'm doing it. Was nobody special before. I was just an everyday mom, but I made it happen. So that's the first thing, is getting them to start believing in themselves. And then we take the next best, very teeny step. And then we start pulling and building on those wins. But if they have no vision or clarity of where they're going, and I like the movie because you can have fun with it. Who's going to play you in your movie? And it really works. So that I think would be the best piece, is that, what's the point of all this? Why can't I just suffer and settle where I'm at? Like, why not, feel sorry for myself, be a victim, why not? This is it. Just go to my 9 to 5 every day, come home, sit on the couch and do nothing. Just stay overweight and unhealthy. Just stay miserable and sad and depressed. Just have people, pat you on the back and tell you no, there's more inside of you. There's more inside. So but you got to create it. And a lot of people, I don't think even know that that's possible for them.
Exactly. And I love that you talk about the movie, and we do that a lot also with NLP, where they create the movie and you kind of mentally anchor where you're going.
Yeah.
Visualization.
It works.
Yeah, it does work, because we think in images. We don't think in words. We think in images, and it's the only way to create our life. And imagination is so powerful. It's like it's the most powerful tool we have to create a future self, a future lifestyle that we want. And so I'm bridging towards the future self, because when we were talking about when we first connected, and I read also on your bio, so we have to talk about that. How do you surrender to your current self? And you say fight for your future self. You have to build that future self, and then you latch onto it like as if your life depended on it, because I believe that our life depends on it.
It does.
But some people, I know some clients say, yeah, well, I like my current self, and if I change, I'm gonna have to change my friends. They're afraid what they're gonna lose, instead of looking at all of the options that they're going to be creating for themselves.
Yeah. So how do you get to surrender yourself?
How do you surrender that part and then create and fight for it?
Yeah, this is really the bread and butter of that transformation and transitioning from the life you're living, because a lot of people are like, well, I can't get there yet because of this. And then they list all of the same problems we have, right? The bills and obligations and kids and chores. And we all have that. Yeah. And nobody cares about your stuff. And it sounds terrible, but we don't, because we've got our own stuff, right? So this is the first, I told you I was honest.
I love that, but it's true. We've heard it all. We've been through all. It's like, I mean, I sold my house to get a mentor. So when somebody says, I don't have the money,
you're making it happen. Yes, you can.
Don't tell that to me. So if you want something, you'll make it happen.
You'll make it happen.
iPhone, you have an iPhone. I mean,
doesn't that drive you nuts? I
Definitely.
can't go to, this is off, but I can't go into nail salons. I get so upset in nail salons. They're so if anybody's going to nail salon today, stop. Unless you have your budget is straight, your life is straight, your health is straight, you are wasting money on instant gratification of your nails that you have to keep spending on. And I love a good pedicure, but it's one of the places where I just can't go and behave, because I get really upset, because I've heard so many excuses over the years of why they can't do things, yet they have eyelashes and nails in there. And if you can totally do that and all of your stuff is in alignment, awesome, great. But if you're complaining about, money and your health and this and this and this, you don't, I'm like, you don't get to, then we can remove that or rearrange it. But back to the question here, I think I have hopefully a good answer here for you. The first one is the questioning yourself, which is the deep work. So questioning your current self, like that is going to the mirror, and this is where I either get fired or my clients have major transformations, because I've been fired over this one. Go have that moment in the mirror with yourself. And I know this because when I was very sick, and then when I was doing all of the things the self-sabotage, the unhealthy behaviors, all the things, I don't have to give my laundry list, but the things that I knew that weren't right, even with or without Christ in your life, you just know that this is probably not the best idea for me to be doing. This is not healthy. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror, Kat, for 7 years. Yeah, been there. It's hard. I could almost tear up right now, but I'm in a much better place where I can look in the mirror every day and be like, you got this. Keep going. I mean, like Mel Robbins is all about the high five in the mirror. I'm totally with her. I've got the Post-it notes everywhere, but you really have to first go question yourself alone, you as a human, not as a mom or a dad, not as an entrepreneur, not as Robyn. And I got to go to the mirror and I have to be like, is this what you really want? And you already know, because it's already, and I'll talk about that at the end. You already know. You already know, but you ignore it or you avoid it because you're scared of the uncertainty. You're scared of the change and leaving behind the life that is comfortable, even though you say you don't want it anymore. You're going to leave people behind, places behind, things behind. you're going to leave yourself behind, and you don't know what that looks like. But if you can answer that first question of, am I really living authentically? And I mean, authentically, not just like the fake posts on Facebook and all that, like, but the second one would be then to surrender to that. So the surrendering would be, and not just to God, but I'm going to throw that out there. But if the faster you surrender it, the better off you're going to be.
I agree.
And it's a constant, you change, because you got to surrender like daily, sometimes hourly or minute by minute, but you kind of get into a rhythm of that. But you just, you have to be able to be willing to let go. So, and that would be rearranging your schedule. Like you can make time for the things that you want to make time for, letting go of some of the unhealthy behaviors and replacing them with healthier ones, removing the toxic people, including family. There was a time where I had to remove biological bloodline family from my life because it was so unhealthy in my life. Now we got to reestablish and come back, so it's all worked out, but now there's new boundaries and standards. But I think the biggest one is the fighting for your future self is, do you really want to have, and I call it your deathbed wish list? And do you really want, when you watch somebody you love die, and when you lay on a hospital bed, and like I said, nobody should ever have to get to that point, but I've seen it so many times. People need a major trauma to make change. Right. And it's so sad to see, like, where is your rock bottom? And you do need to hit rock bottom. You do. And that's how you fail and fail. And I'm a huge believer in failure. Quitting, no, but knowing, again, going back to that movie, what does that future life look like for you? And for me, I know it's a best-selling author. It is impacting and influencing, and it's beyond being the title of that, but it's what does it bring with it, that my words and my stories have impacted millions of people. So either they feel not alone. They feel, oh my God, like that's my life. She's living my life, or I'm doing what she did. Like, oh my God, let me stop. Or it wakes them up so that well, if she can do it, I can do it, because I'm just a mom of 2 kids, single mom, learning how to pay the bills and get out of debt. And if she could, you know what I mean? So you really have to paint that picture of like what it is, and learn to listen. Like, your self-awareness is so important. And that goes back to questioning yourself and facing your giants. People don't want to do it. It's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. But then on the other end of that, you spend 24 hours a day with inner chatter. It wakes you up. You have bad dreams. It slows you down. You don't have the focus. You're not performing because you have this inner chatter. And guys, when you start aligning yourself to listening to yourself, you will see this mental diet that will feel so good. You won't have all those. I know for me, as I made all my decisions and aligned myself, my mind kind of became quiet. And it was like, I should have done that before. But that's how we learn. Where do you find that ounce of courage? Because and that's the human journey. A lot of us, until we're aligned and are grounded in, yes, this is who I am. I don't want to be like others anymore. Right. I'm me. And you need just 1 ounce of courage to start. Mm-hmm. And the confidence comes after. It doesn't come before. It comes first. Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do? Where did you get that nudge where you say, okay, I'm going?
I got a good story on that one. It comes after I had recovered and I was back at the gym and I was back to my job. And I say this humbly, but I was great at fitness. I was great at leading a room, and people would do 99 billion jumping jacks for me for 45 minutes if that's all I asked them to do. I made them feel alive through the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion that you can do anything. So when I was going through the separation and the divorce, I had built up this following and this program, and it was amazing. And I knew, though, that I had to leave it. I knew that I had to leave the safety net of it. I knew that I had to bring my kids closer to their father. I knew that I was going to have to walk away from the safety of it. from just the pride that I had in building it up. It gave me confidence. It filled me. It brought me joy. I was helping people. I could love on people all day long. Like, it was great. It was very fulfilling. So when I had decided to leave, I stood in the room, and there was probably about 60 people there attending that night. And I stood on like some boxes, because I'm very short. I'm like 5'2", but I'm dynamite, man. There's dynamite comes in small packages. So I stood on some boxes to be taller than the room. And I said, I'm moving to Tampa. I'm taking my kids. I'm going to miss you guys. I love you, but I'm going to own my own gym. I'm going to open my own business down there, and I'm going to do this down there and impact lives. And it's going to be amazing. And you just wait and see. And they all cheered, and everything was awesome. And I went home, and I was like, what the F did I just do? What did I just say? But I spoke it out there. And this was before I believed in all the mindset, speaking into existence and limiting beliefs and all of that stuff. I hadn't heard of any of this. I had just been saved in the hospital to not die. And I had to make a decision, life-changing decision personally for my kids and their father. It was the right thing to do. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to go open my own business. I know nothing about running a business. I could run the gym and the people, but I had other people that did all the hard work. I didn't have to do all the hard work. I did the fun part. And after saying that, I moved a month later down here. Even though it's my hometown, because I was living in Atlanta at the time, didn't know a soul, didn't have one client, didn't have any money, nothing. And
I love that.
I just started posting, and I got one client from like an old high school friend of mine. It was his wife, and she came to my garage, and I was like, this is the start of Robyn Thrasher Fitness, and it's awesome. And like, for all the people out there in the world probably thought that I had like 50 clients or 100 clients or whatever it was. There's one girl in my gym. Thank God for her. Love you, Kim. And I grew from there. And then my partner at the time had come down, and we went into a dirt field. So we went from my garage to the dirt field, like bugs, thunder, lightning. We did it all out in the rain, carried the equipment in the car, did that whole thing. Then we found investors, and the investors were going to invest in us because they loved us so much. And we got a brick and mortar, which was super expensive in retail space. Any of you entrepreneurs, make sure you look at the lease with the brick and mortar retail space. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm so glad that I did. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Investors bailed like 3 hours before we were supposed to sign the paperwork. The landlord, we told the landlord, and the landlord, God-loving, fearing man, let us sign anyways. We had no money, no capital. We barely had enough equipment. And he let us do it anyways. And it was a 3-year lease, I think at the time, 3, 4, I don't even know how long the lease was, but that was one of the worst, like 3-4 hours. And, we were going to go do this. And we're going to have investors, and it was going to be backed, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because if you can do it on your own, that's an entrepreneur piece. Do it on your own. Don't get investors. Do it all on your own. But speaking it out, like, I brought it into existence. My faith and my ability that,
you hit something there. You hit something right there. You do it anyways.
You do it anyways.
You do it anyways, and the universe is going to bring you the next step. You don't need to know. You just need to do it.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things I coach is if you stay in the why and the how, the figuring it out, you will get lost and sucked back into the dark hole of suffering and settling. You can't worry about how. You can't worry about why this happened. Forget that it happened. It happened. Focus on the solution, not the problem. But if you feel it and you know it, go for it. Go do it. Do not stop. Do not wait. Don't worry about everybody telling you can't do it. You know nothing about it. Great. Go learn. Exactly. You will learn on the way down, and then you're going to make it on the way up, because I was told, no, you can't do it. You know nothing. They were all right. I had no idea what I was doing, but I do now. And I would have never learned. You can't learn that in college. You can't learn it in a textbook. You can't learn it like by watching. You have to go do. So,
and that's how we learn in life. There's no diploma for an entrepreneur. And even if they were, it would not be in your exact field. It would not be with your exact way of thinking. And it doesn't exist.
No,
it's a school of life, and you got to do it. How do you handle when, because we have to become comfortable being in the uncomfortable all the time, right?
Right.
We're stretching, we have to do it anyway. How do you how do you handle if you have like inner self-talk that might be negative, or if you see it hits one of your beliefs that is limiting your progress?
Oof.
What do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, this is a good question. Great question. So I got two things on it because I go back to the being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Being uncomfortable for me is super important in 90% of my life, because it helps me continue to feel alive. It lets me know that I'm doing the right things. So if I don't feel some sense of urgency or fear or whatever, then like something's wrong. I've been sitting on the couch too long, and I don't sit on the couch too long.
So true.
So those, embrace those feelings. Those are the things. It's like when you're about to jump off the cliff and you're in the Bahamas, or I should say I was Barbados, wherever I was, and you're like, oh, but it's that moment. It's even that moment, if you've ever been walking and you're about to start running, there's a moment where you break from the walk to the run, from the jump to the ocean. That's the difference between somebody that will make it and will keep going versus the person that hesitates. If you hesitate, like you've missed out. Yeah. So for me, the being uncomfortable is super important. I embrace it. I like it. I'm very spontaneous, but I also like to plan things out. So my boyfriend's a little confused sometimes because he's like, wait, you need to plan or we need to be spontaneous? I'm like, we need both. And my son is very much like me. He's very spontaneous. He likes to do things on the whim, whereas my daughter likes to plan things out. So she doesn't like to be uncomfortable. Me and my son can handle it all day long, but it does remind me that I'm alive. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, stay there. Stay there. And the other thing, the self-talk is these are silly, but these are my armor. Besides God, I've got, and I actually have, I'm going to show you, and you're going to, I love stuffed animals. But so this is my little dragon, and his name is Turbo, because my inside talk is, I used to be called Turbo. Turbo could not handle, I had no emotional intelligence. I had no strength or stability with my feelings. They were always in the driver's seat. I chose Turbo. I had read a book by Dr. Daniel Amen, Your Brain is Always Listening. Great book. And so he has like this whole thing on dragons. So that kind of stuck in my head. And the first thing I do is I name it to tame it. So all my feelings, good, bad, ugly, they're called Turbo, and it's this guy. And he sits on my desk when I write, when I speak, when whatever, wherever I need him, if I need to hold on to him. And I made him cute because it helps me give myself grace and forgiveness for when I am beating myself up with negative talk, because we do it. So don't let anybody tell you they never doubt, they're never scared, they're lying. And I call my audiences out on their BS all the time, and your BS are your bad stories, but that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. So I name it to tame it, and I have to put a name on it. Like, you have to acknowledge and identify what you're feeling, what you're saying to yourself. What do you really need in this moment? You know, where you're projecting from, where it's really coming from, because it's probably not what's going on right there. You know, it's deeper than that. And I call it your filth. I also have like a
nice name for it.
Yeah, it is. And well, we bring that, you know, so you have to really learn how to, and that's part of questioning yourself, to surrendering that to your past. So I don't bring any of that with me. And that's why I say, like, all of those life happens moments, the death, the divorce, affairs, lies, your financial ruin, like, you can rebuild all of those things, but it's your filth. But I call it your adventures too, because it is an adventure. It's a journey that you went on to grow to get to where you are today. So when I start to kind of go back to those ugly places, I got Turbo, and I remind myself that I've been forgiven, and that I can continue to forgive myself and give myself, when I screw up, or when I'm lazy, or when I procrastinate, or when I eat too much popcorn, whatever it is. That really helps me, like, acknowledge, why am I feeling this way? Where is this behavior or feeling really coming from? And then what can I do? What's my next best step? I can't do it all right now, and I'm feeling too overwhelmed. And this sounds so silly, but it works. If you're a visual person, it works. If you're, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a stuffed animal. Like, it could be a picture, it could be a post, whatever. I wear bracelets too. The bracelets help me. They have scripture on them. So I look down at that, and it reminds me of whatever it is. It brings me back to life, because I think sometimes we get so disconnected from life when we start to get in our feelings and thoughts.
So totally.
And if you allow that to drive you, if you allow fear to drive, you're going to get in trouble. Like you can use it to propel you forward, but you got to stay in the driver's seat. Turbo can't be driving. If turbo is driving, you're going off the cliff.
Yeah.
So it's cheesy, but it works. So
I love it. Have you ever seen the movie Finding Joe? Where
I've not, no.
You can find it on YouTube. So it's slaying your dragon. So when you slay your dragon, that's where you kind of let go of your old self, and then your future self comes to life. I have that. I actually have a coin.
I will look that up. See,
God.
so you have something.
Yeah, it's the letter G for God. So
I love it.
It's let go and let God, in the sense that I have total faith that I just go ahead and everything will come to me, so it will unfold. So we need something. We're humans. We're entrepreneurs, but it's a mind, body, and soul just doing an activity. So we have we have to deal with them.
Yeah.
So just bringing this for a landing. I'm just looking at the time, and I want to respect everybody's time and yours also. Is there anything else that you'd love to add to this conversation, Robyn, that discuss?
That must be. I have a lot, but I think what I'll do is I'll quickly go over. I have like some of my core values, and I think they're good. Like maybe they could write them down. So if you want to grab, you should probably be writing notes, right? Anyways.
Well, they should have pen and paper.
Right. So because I think they're pretty cool. So these are things that I live by daily. My clients have to live by them, or we don't mesh. It just doesn't work. So the first one is there's always a way. And that is through. So we talked about that in the beginning, that you can make a way, you can find a way, you can be resourceful. I have a whole series on being resilient, being resourceful. And do you remember the show MacGyver?
Yes.
MacGyver saved the day because he was resourceful and he sought solutions and not problems, and he used what he had and what was available to him. So there's always a way. So I always say, be MacGyver, be your own MacGyver, find a way. And I love it because you can connect with MacGyver if I'm probably showing my age now, but
telling our age, but
the second one is the answer is always yes. So with my kids around here, the answer is always yes. Do you want to do more? Are you be hungry, stay hungry. You can always do better. I think it's Brendon Burchard. He says to strive satisfied, because a lot of times entrepreneurs they want more. And then as Christians, we're like, you're supposed to be content and with what you have. So sometimes there's a little struggle between, well, what's more and what's okay and what's striving satisfied. And what I'd like to put on my clients and my audience is that you can always do more. And the fact that you're even asking, should I do more? Can I do more? Means you can, and it means you should. So that's a big one for me, is the answer is always yes. Yes, you want to try it. Even if you don't like it, try. Yes, you can do it. You absolutely can. So those are big ones for me in a nutshell. The next one is push yourself, but pace yourself. It's a big one. I never give up is one of my core values. So simple, but push yourself, but pace yourself. I did this a lot as a trainer. Is a lot of people straight out the gate, they think they can go, they go, and then they fizzle out. They can't keep up the pace. You have to learn to climb and maintain.
Yeah.
It's climbing and maintaining is huge, because you can't get there fast and then you haven't learned along the way to maintain it, to keep it. What's it going to do to sustain? Like, how will you, especially with weight loss? So I learned that 26 years of clients, we climb and maintain. So take a step, pause, be there, be there for a minute, and take another step, pause, be there for a while, take it in, breathe, like experience it all. I love this one. Pray out loud and pray unconventionally. So I have a very strong relationship with God talking. So he's like my best friend. We talk a lot all the time, all places. I believe in going to church and the Bible reading and sitting in the pew, but be unconventional about it. In the car, when you're driving, in the shower, pray. He's listening. Like, he hears you, and like doing it out loud, like it might sound crazy to some people, but it works. So that's a big one for me. Owning your BS. So I kind of touched on it just a tad. It doesn't, some people thinks it stands for bull, you know what, but I'm trying to be clean. But it's bad stories. Own your bad stories. So I'm too tired. I'm too old. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. My knees hurt from 20 years ago. Who cares? All right. Like there's always going to be a bad story. Oh, Kat, that's a whole nother, we'll have to do a whole nother summit. Okay. But there's always a story you're telling yourself of why you can't, even that talk that you're having. So go get your turbo out, but call him something else, because turbo is mine. But own your BS, take responsibility. The first thing you want to do is place blame on everybody else. Where can you take responsibility? What can you change? What do you control of? And don't worry about anything else. Face your giants. We talked about that. Face your giants. Go to the mirror. And if you cannot look at yourself in the mirror, if you can't look at yourself in the eye, that's okay. Let's start. Just start. What do you need to forgive yourself? What do you need to ask yourself? What do you need to say to yourself? And do it again and again and again and again until you're like, you're doing good. You're kicking butt. Keep going. Or today kind of sucked, but tomorrow's a new day. You're okay. Until you can do it authentically and know that, you know what, I'm good. Like, I'm living right. So face your giants. Exercise every day. Like, it doesn't, I mean, it should be a given, but it's the number, exercise and nutrition. I had to throw it in there. Eat. You know, it's the number one and number two for every problem we have across the board in America. We are so unhealthy, but I say it out of respect for your body. When you lose your ability to walk, to move, your health, something, boy, do you appreciate what your body, every time I get to run or I get to box or I get to exercise, I'm taking, and I have a dead leg and I'm missing part of my spine. I have all kinds of things wrong with me. So, you know, there's no excuses, but boy, am I reminded of where I came from, where I've been, how amazing my body is and how resilient it is. So you got to move every day. It makes you smarter. You know, it makes you nicer and kinder. I had a client this morning. She was like, I missed my run today and I'm really grumpy, you know? And so exercise every day. And it doesn't have to be crazy exercise. Like, walking is fine. Start with walking, just exercise. Please use your body. Like, it is a temple, because at any moment it can be taken. I
love that you say that. I love that you say that.
Two more and I'm done, Kat. I will zip it. Dream bigger. The crazier, the better. I have these dreams, and the two people that are so close to me in my life, my best friend, who is also my right-hand woman, and then my other best friend, which is my boyfriend of many years, they put new dreams in my head that I thought, that is ridiculous. And then after about a night or two of sleeping on it, I thought, it's actually not really that ridiculous. Good. So even, you know, those people in your life that believe in you and that are pushing you to do something, listen to those people, because they see something in you may not see in yourself that is beyond. You may think your dream is here, and those people might be able to show you, hey, you could even go even bigger than that. So dream bigger, the crazier. When it sounds ridiculous when you say it, go do that.
It's the right direction.
Definitely. And my last one is coming from a mom standpoint. If you have children, or if you're a dad with children, be real with your kids. Treat them like the little humans that they are. Don't protect them so much from, especially as an entrepreneur. They have seen me cry, get mad, get angry, get frustrated, be scared about money. Obviously, they lived in the gym with me. They have seen the mountains and the big wins, and, you know, make tons of money and help thousands of people. And they've seen me lose it all. That, you know, they've seen heartache and grief and all of those things. And I don't shelter them from that. I'm very honest with them about the life lessons. And sometimes they say, Mom, no life lessons today, but
we're good for now.
We're good, Mom. We don't need another life lessons. But it's teaching them, you know, I'm modeling for them, you know, the life that I hope that they will lead. But we keep saying we want to change the world, and it's in such a crazy place right now. I think we should just start with the generation we created. So if our own children are living in our shadows and our leftover beliefs and values and dreams, make sure those beliefs and values and dreams are good ones. Yeah. So I think that's huge, because I've witnessed a lot of my clients that try to protect their children from life. And how are they going to go be courageous and resilient and confident and change the world if we don't show them through all of our mistakes and choices and failures and successes? So I think that's a huge one, and I'll leave it at that. But
I love it, because we're the best school for them. When we do move forward and try new things, they see live action, being courageous, resiliency, falling and getting back up. And so that's what they're learning. They're not going to learn that in a book. They're going to learn it by doing it themselves. But if they can model someone, that is so powerful. I love that. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we tend to forget that we focus on the business, but we're humans. So we have emotions, we have kids, we need to eat, we need to, because you can't buy health. You can get to your 20 millions if you want. You'll never be able to buy your health. They don't sell it on Amazon. They're never going to on Amazon.
No, those are the things that you can't. That's why it's, you got to set the time. We could talk forever about this, but I think the last thing would be is learn to shut it off.
Yeah.
That'd be my PS at the end is early on in your entrepreneur world. Shut it off early. If you're in line with your values, mine is love and my kids and my other half. So I've learned I shut down at a certain time. I don't business clients. It's done. I'm not one. I did the grind, the overnight grind, the 17-hour days. It wasn't working for me. When I started shutting down and setting boundaries and standards, I was more efficient during the day, more productive, and I impacted and influenced more people starting in my own home. So if you can set those boundaries and shut it down so you do get to be with your children more or the people that you love, that's life-changing right there. So
you feel so much better. I love that. I hope you guys have everything jotted down, because that was absolutely gold.
Lots of notes.
Thank you.
I hope.
So let's bring this for a landing then, Robyn.
Sure.
I'd appreciate, so you have a free gift for the audience.
Yes.
I'd appreciate if you can go ahead and share that with them so that they can go grab that.
Sure. Well, I would love for you to get an experience inside my little world and what I give to my coaching clients, my private coaching clients, and my group coaching clients. So all you have to do is go to robynthrasher.com, and there will be a link in there, and it will have the summit on here, the magnetic summit on there. So you'll be able to just click on that, and the page will take you to sign up with the email, and you're going to get a free month in my group with me. So free coaching, free insight. You'll be able to talk to me. We'll do live Q&As. And I also have free tickets to an Ignite conference, a 2-day personal development conference where I'll be speaking with 2 other personal development leaders in the Tampa Bay area, but it'll also be a virtual conference. So if you're in Tampa or you're in Florida, you can come in person and I'll give you a free ticket, or it is also virtual. So you'll be able to attend live via Zoom. So just go to robynthrasher.com, and I spell my name a little funky. It is ROBYNTHRASHER.com. And the link will be right there on the top of the page for you guys. I've got it saved special for you, but I only got 5 free tickets for the Ignite conference. And that'll be on personal development, on creating courage and confidence, clarity, and what you want to do moving forward. So it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited about it.
That is absolutely amazing. So test being a fast action taker and grab this opportunity as an entrepreneur. You need money loves speed. You need to be a fast action taker. So you're going to have the link, you guys, underneath the video. So you can go ahead and click that, and then follow Robyn's instruction on her website. You'll find everything super, super easily. And congratulations to the 5 action takers. They're going to be able to experience your event. So thank you so much. I was so honored to have you on today. It was pure gold. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're too sweet. I appreciate it. The honor was all mine, and thank you for doing this. This is great. I wish when I was starting out as an entrepreneur that I had tons of great coaches along the way. But there was nobody that did anything like this when I was starting out as an entrepreneur. For everybody that's just starting out, go out there and do it. And Kat, thank you so much for putting this amazing event together. So
it's just so much fun. So I hope you guys took lots of notes and love the insights today. And so have fun for the rest of your day. Just go crush it. Take care of yourself, and we'll see each other tomorrow. Thank you, Robyn.
Bye. Thank you.